So this is apparently a debate between two titans of industry. Khanna is obviously a congressional member from California. Not someone I'm particularly fond of. Let's just watch a segment of this debate to kind of get a read on where a fellow like Dave Rubin is what he's kind of working with. Obviously, he is in this kind of post tenant media money phase of his life where he's been exposed for receiving exorbitant amounts of money from Russian cutouts, state media cutouts. Apparently, it seems, certainly insane amounts of money. So let's see how he's kind of like making his show work. Let's just watch this. So this is obviously a segment about a judge in Wisconsin in the United States being charged with a crime for preventing ICE from arresting someone she was holding a trial for or a hearing. And ICE did not have a judicial warrant. They had an administrative warrant, and they are not supposed to be arresting people in courtrooms when those people are on trial or at hearings for other cases. So this judge did what a lot of judges would do and said, please don't arrest this man in my courtroom while I'm trying to do a hearing. And so, yeah, she is currently being charged. I do not think that she will be held accountable because I don't think she's done anything wrong. But let's see what Dave Rubin's take will be on it.
Yes, that's a crime. But let me ask you this, just because you're being very thoughtful about it. If a judge says...
That's a good way to debate, to say positive things like that about the other person. You're being very thoughtful and so on, yeah.
Not arrest someone. Let's say she didn't have him go out the jury room. Let's say she just had him go out the regular...
Sorry.
Okay, I did not realize that the one portion I would try to play would have a technical issue on Dave's show.
Would you have a problem with that?
Literally, just as you made your point, that sentence, your audio cut out. So if you could just repeat that, please.
Would you have a problem if she just said, I don't want anyone arrested in my courtroom? You can, and it wasn't a question of, okay, they used the jury door. Let's say it was the other door. Do you believe
again a good debate tactic? He's trying to isolate where the disagreement is. Is it about this sort of like nefariously framed, oh, she let him leave a door? Obviously the guy could still get arrested by ICE. It's just the idea is like people need to come to their court hearings without thinking they're going to get targeted by Homeland Security without a warrant.
Local judge should be able to say, look, in my courtroom, I don't want someone to be arrested.
And it's so fascinating. The most fascinating thing about this that you got to think about is like conservatives like Dave Rubin pretend to be small government. And we're talking about a federal agency intruding on a local judicial hearing.
A church could say that in a church, or not. That's not concealing someone's arrest. It's not. It's just saying in this courtroom, I don't want ICE arresting someone.
Well, I don't know what the actual legal procedure is as it relates to that. Whether ICE is allowed to literally walk in the courtroom or not, I don't know what that is. But the idea that a judge,
it's a pretty important question,
would do anything so that it would confuse, at the very least, ICE's ability to do their job does seem illegal to me.
Because they're just following orders, right? ICE is just following orders.
And then the issue about the handcuffs, it's like, look, I don't think judges are above the law. I mean, I just don't. If you harbored an illegal alien, you'd be taken away.
And the alien thing is, I mean, to even call people illegal is, I think, a huge stretch. But when you hear someone call someone else an alien, you think, is there any more dehumanizing word that they could use? I mean, they could say garbage, but alien is sort of equally dehumanizing to the word garbage.
Handcuffs, and so would I. So I don't see why a judge would be treated any better than us, I suppose, or better than anyone else. As to whether it happened in the courtroom or not is somewhat irrelevant. But the second the guy, let's say, even if I grant you that, right? Again, I don't know the legal ramifications of all of that. But the second he walks out of the courtroom,
I believe Khanna is a lawyer, by the way.
He should be arrested.
And my sense is he was. I mean, he goes to a public hallway. They don't arrest him. I don't understand why they don't arrest him right at the public hallway, but then they eventually arrest him. I would have a very different view of the facts of the case if she had said, "Come to my house," or "Here's a car, go drive away."
Because she wasn't saying the guy shouldn't get arrested, and she wasn't saying that she wanted to protect him. She was saying that I'm here to do a job, which is have a hearing about a different case, and my job is frustrated by the actions of federal agents who don't have a warrant.
Here's someone who's going to escort you to safety. She basically said, exit the courtroom. A lot of times when there's a lot of press or other things, people exit through the jury room. We'll see the facts. If the facts come out showing that she was actually trying to have this person evade the ICE agents, then I still don't think, in this context of the courtroom, it's a criminal matter, but I'm not going to condone that in any way.
Sure.
But
so
my point is just this idea of the federal government arresting state judges. Imagine, look, there is going to be a
right.
Democratic
I mean, I'm
president.
just going to stop here. We can move on, right? I mean, should we look at a different section? Donna, was this what you wanted me to watch? Maybe next time you add something to the... oh, nice. It's good that Dave's independent media. Not sponsored by any interests or corporations, just telling it like it is. Dave strikes me as a very unhappy man. I do think that he's not a full true believer in the stuff he says. I think someone like Jordan Peterson is a bit more of a true believer. I get the sense that Dave is more of an entertainer. I mean, he started as a comedian, which is fine. I mean, lots of people do. But I don't get the sense that he really believes all this stuff. But he seems like he's motivated by resentment and like sadness. I don't get very positive. He doesn't seem like he's having a good time.
Our point of view, and I think let's have this debate go all the way to.
I mean, and I can only imagine being a gay man and like, how do you handle that cognitive dissonance? It really is like, I don't know. Maybe this is extreme, sure, but it's like being a Palestinian who's like a Zionist. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like he supports political actors who would 100% take away his right to have a family. The cognitive dissonance, I think, is akin to a Palestinian Zionist, which doesn't really exist. I mean, for obvious reasons, but like, it's a similar, I think, type of cognitive dissonance, maybe not the same degree. Maybe if Republicans were dropping bombs on gay nightclubs, Dave would change his mind. I don't know. It's hard to say, but certainly the legal stuff kind of evades him. The oppression via, lawfare and rolling back rights of queer people, gay people. I'm sure he doesn't call himself queer. I've heard him be like, I'm married to a man. Like, trying to do everything possible to be like, it's not a part of my identity per se. It's not a part of my identity. I don't identify with my sexual orientation. I'm just saying I happen to be married to a man. Anyways, what am I looking at?
Have to support have to spend the money Congress appropriates. I think the Supreme Court should take this up soon and just issue the ruling.
Is Dave Rubin Jewish too? I feel like he might be. What's his view on anti-Semitism here?
All right, so let's jump to where Harvard's at, and we won't rush as I intended. Breaking, Harvard just released its final report on anti-Semitism.
Dave, you do know how to cite a news article, right? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, Dave, but like, you do know how to cite a news article. Like, you can just pull up a news article. I mean, it doesn't have to be a tweet that you've like copy and pasted into a title card on a video. Like, you could just bring up a screenshot of a news article. In fact, I would say it's best practices to be doing that. Let me just read it really quick, because I actually looked at this Harvard report. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's why they're not pulling up the article. Wow. This is the most biased rendition of what that research found. Wow. Let me just pull it up, because it actually, it's wild. Hold on, Reuters. Yeah, here we go. Because Reuters was the article I read that gave a fairly good description of it. This is so just so if you skim what the text is on the screen, it is highlighting. It is completely, and I wonder if Halavi Ishmael might be a little biased. And I say this as a Jewish person, by the way, who's even been to Israel. I'm a little bit ashamed to say, or I'm pretty ashamed to say. I wonder if this person might be a little bit biased because their rendition of what this Harvard research just showed completely leaves out the anti-Islam sentiment. And the Harvard research actually showed, it was a task force on anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, and it was just released. And what it shows, this is very important to understand, and as a Jewish person, and we are right now in the United States seeing anti-Semitism used as a pretext, alleged anti-Semitism used as a pretext to deport people and try to crack down on people's freedoms of movement and freedoms to live with their family and to be a resident of their community. So it's very serious. So this 500-page report from 50 listening sessions with about 500 students and employees found that gathering a lot of responses, survey found 47% of Muslim respondents and 15% of Jewish respondents did not feel physically safe on campus. So just think about that. And this quote that they brought up does not even mention the fact that the research showed extreme anti-Islam and sentiment. 47. So that's 3 times as many. 3 times as many Muslim respondents as Jewish respondents. Obviously, anti-Semitism is real. I'm Jewish, I could tell you, but I'm being arrested for talking about anti-Semitism. Hold on, I'm being arrested. All right. No? Okay, false alarm, sorry. So, yeah, this is, I'm glad. I wasn't expecting to talk about this necessarily. 92% of Muslims and 61% of Jews felt there were academic or professional repercussions for expressing their political beliefs. So not only does, I mean, it's just unbelievable that, and then obviously when the Republican Trump administration was asked about this, they did not acknowledge the anti-Muslim sentiment on campuses. But yeah, I'm just showing you literally from an article on the exact same thing that Dave is talking about. It shows 3 times as much lack of physical safety for Muslims reporting compared to Jews reporting. Okay, and I'm a Jewish person telling you this, and I'm just telling you what the study has shown. And Dave pulls up a quote from Halavi Ishmael. Okay, you're allowed to have the name Halavi Ishmael, but you know, why not just pull up a news article? Because maybe this one person is not really summarizing it in a super even-handed way, Dave. You can read articles, right? You can even read the 500-page report if you want, but at least read like AP News, Reuters, like read an article about it. You know what I mean? Because I'm showing you that literally, and obviously there's zero mention here of anti-Muslim bias. Look, they don't even say that the report was on anti-Muslim bias. So, Dave, maybe you want to go a little bit deeper than this guy you follow on Twitter. You know what I mean?
An anti-Israel bias. It's 300 plus pages and pretty devastating to read. I thought I knew what was going on at Harvard, but even I wasn't prepared for this. Let's break down the most shocking parts. A Jewish student was told they couldn't share their story of their...
Dave loves reading. He just reads. I forget what other thing I was watching where he just reads these things.
Of the hostages, Harvard chose to move the Jewish students for safety.
There's zero mention of anti-Muslim and anti-Islam sentiment. Dave, you got an issue, bro. You got an issue.
Safety reasons while protesters roamed around freely in a university.
Whoa, protesters are moving around freely? What is this, Nazi Germany?
I'd survey, most respondents said they do not feel safe. It's rather shocking.
Let's see if Khanna at least knows.
Or not, I suppose. This is a chart of Harvard applicants having...
Okay. Okay, just a different, separate thing on Dave's PowerPoint presentation here. Let's see if Khanna knows. Actually, do I care? I think I made my point. Let's move on. Good job, Dave. Maybe try reading news articles. I guess would probably be my big tip on that front. Sometimes when you read a news article, you will end up learning that the context and the framing of an issue was not super accurate by the guy you follow on Twitter. And that's just kind of a free tip. This is a podcast.